الدكتور وعد محمود رؤوف رئيس جامعة التكليف، وإشراف الأستاذ المساعد الدكتور سيف عبد حسين مدير مركز التعليم المستمر. عنوان هذه المحاضرة إيكو كريسم and Environmental Consciousness. تقيم هذه المحاضرة الأستاذة أمل محمد جاسم، فلتتفضل مشكورة.
شكرا. إن شاء الله تكون ناجحة although I'm under the weather. However, I'll try to do my best. Eco-criticism and environmental consciousness is the title of this symposium. So let's start first talking about the earth is indeed our mother. The Lord Allah created man, or a man, Adam, from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life. And the man became a living being. Thus, human beings are creatures born of the elements of which earth is composed. The same elements that make up planets, the other animals, the minerals, the natural chemicals and components of this heavenly body. Moreover, the earth is the only place we can live on. Therefore, we must treat it well so that it remains clean place, perfect for living for ourselves and our children. Such awareness has its roots since the dawn of history, but what makes it an urgent need not only a theory is the climate change and global warming. Scientists, researchers, experts, and ordinary people try to do something to stop this crisis. Literature has its position among all of them. Unlike all other forms of literary inquiry, eco-criticism encompasses non-human as well as human context and considerations. It bases its challenge to postmodern critical discourse as well as to the critical system of the past. So what is meant by eco-criticism? Eco-criticism has many definitions, although it could be called green criticism or environmental criticism. Yet, according to the academic scholars, it is a synthesis of literature and environment within one field of knowledge and understanding. It is defined as the critical pedagogical broadening of literary studies to include texts that deal with the non-human world and our relationship to it. The word eco-criticism can be traced back to William Rocker's 1987 essay Literature and Ecology, an experiment in eco-criticism, till the 1989 Western Literature Association meeting with Guildford not only revived the term but advised its adoption to refer to the diffuse critical field that heretofore had been known as the study of nature to be called eco-criticism. This is an image that represents eco-criticism. Moreover, we are going to know the characteristics of eco-criticism. So, eco-criticism is primarily concerned with the application of the rules of criticism and ecology to literature. Attempts to find out environmental concerns voiced by writers in literature, foregrounds nature and environment in literary text, rereading the major literary works for an eco-critical perspective, emphasize on relevant factual writing, especially topographical material such as essays, travel writing, memoirs, and regional literature. nature and culture. There's a deep relation between our planet, nature, and literature that goes back about 5,000 years ago. In Mesopotamia, the epic of Gilgamesh, the great king, is said to be too proud and arrogant by the gods, and so they decide to teach him a lesson by sending the wild Enkidu to humble him. The historical evidence inscripts crediting him with the building of great walls of Uruk that shows the two words there, the natural world, the countryside, and the unnatural world, the city with the building and walls. It's found in Joshua. What's more, that Enkidu was a nature defender, animal rights, environment consumerism, representation, and against انه الليست مخبيه جزء من النص، فكيف ممكن احذفها او اشيلها استاذ محمد؟ اوكي good. So we said that Enkidu was a nature defender, animal rights, and Rahmat consumerism representation against human, while Gilgamesh was the king of the civilized city. Thus, both of them left the civilized world and venture in the natural world. The first representation of deforestation was Humbaba. He was a giant who guarded the cedar forest. Gilgamesh and Enkidu killed him because Humbaba was the keeper of the forest, guardian of the forest. When he died, there was a chaos in the forest. The literary responses to the environmental concerns are as old as the issues themselves. Nature. So the word nature means the environment, which is all the external factors affecting an organism. These factors may be other living organisms, biotic factors, or non-living variables, abiotic factors, such as temperature, rainfall, day length, wind, and ocean currents. The interaction of organisms with biotic and abiotic factors form ecosystem, which means organism living in particular environment, such as forest or coral reef, and physical part of the environment that affects them. The term ecosystem was coined in 1935 by the British ecologist Sir Arthur George Tansley, who described natural system in the context into change among their living and evolving parts. Nature and divine philosophies. So there must be a connection. Beliefs, rituals, spiritual and moral teachings known as religion have taught and told man how to think about everything on earth that man did not make himself. So the humanities surrounding were both a gift and a problem. A gift because human beings have to think about what they meant morally and spiritually, and the problem because human beings have to use them to meet their needs according to their integrity, purposefulness, and value. Environmental ethics are based on their belief that Allah entrusted humans with the duty of protecting the environment. Allah created the world and that all living things are giving balance. Nonetheless, all this was not created for human use only. Therefore, humans have a responsibility for Allah's creation. So this is nature, which is full of genius, full of divinity, full of magic. Duty paradigm. So Islamic environmental law uses a duty paradigm in the sphere of the right to healthy environment. As human beings must not destroy, deplete, or unwisely use natural resources, but have an obligation to develop and enhance natural resources. Any disturbance of God's equilibrium in the universe is transgression and sin against the divine system. Last but not least, Islamic law regards man as a creature with elevated status. In Islamic environmental law, the human is not the owner of nature, but a mere beneficiary. Islamic environmental safety is based upon the principle of use without abuse. Environmental protection under the Islamic legal scheme does not differ from any modern environmental legal system. Authors and nature. So, Roman poetry, especially that of the earlier poets, shows nature awareness, consciousness, and love of nature. For Roman art is full of gardens, woods, wild beasts, birds, and fruit trees. Virgil poetry, especially the Georgic, is filled with love of nature and the flourishing, burgeoning, poetic words. Nature had and has been the source of culture. It affects and stirs man's emotions and influenced him or her directly or indirectly. A vast accumulation of evidence about the environmental affectation on man can be taken from literature. During the Abbas era, the Arabian poet Ali ibn al-Jahm al-Sami, who came from Bedouin family of desert region of Arabia, he praised al-Mutawakkil al-Khalifa, who was known for his authority, awe and power, influencing the poet compares the Khalifa with animals. Ali began to praise Khalifa with a poem in which he likened him to a dog, a goat, a bucket. But then the Khalifa realized that Ali ibn al-Jahm was from the desert, and his personality and poetic taste was shaped accordingly. He decided to change his personality, so he ordered his men to house him or to house Ali ibn al-Jahm in a section of the palace, be treated with kindness and be given all the available pleasure. Later he began to move emotions using soft and kind words and likened the king to the sun, the stars, and the stars. As you know, living in a city was a privilege during that time. Deforestation, air pollution, animal rights, endangered species, wetland laws, prevalent consumerism have been treated in literature for more than hundreds of years, and it could be more than thousands of years. In Renaissance England, coal with sulfur content produced foam which corroded building killed local fauna, and by the mid-17th century was second only to the plague as the leading cause of a human death in London. Air pollution certainly seems to have affected Milton. In Paradise Lost was taken from the Bible. It is simple and common story of the fall of Adam and Eve from the grace of God due to their disobedience of Him. Adam tries to atone for his sins, offering to build altars to worship God. In response, the angel Michael explains that Adam does not need to build physical objects to experience the presence of God, while in fact it is not a quality inherent in buildings themselves he finds offensive, but rather their tendency to act as convenient looter to what worship over time will inevitably attire. Benjamin Jonson, 1572-1637, wrote about Bishop's houses. So, a dramatist, lyric, poetic, and literary critic, his poem To Benchert was written to celebrate the Kent state of Sir Robert Sidney. The poem idealizes country life and sets up an opposition between the city and the country. The title of the Benchert indicates that the poem is a gift, and Benchert's houses are listed to make it seem humble and down to earth compared to the average country house. Perhaps this is done to prevent peasants' resentment of a lavish spending on luxury by wealthy. The idea that nature is beautiful and does not need decoration is emphasized. Again, we have the English Romantics, which is a great example of who was caring about nature. The English Romantics were the first full-fledged ecological writers in the Western literary tradition. Rio and Autumn, 49. Human effects on the natural environment were becoming increasingly apparent in England, from greater air pollution, particularly from the burning of coal, to deforestation, to the growing appearance throughout the country of mills and factories. Although widespread conservation movements would not form until much later in the 19th century, this was an era in which environmental or ecological concerns appear in the literary productions take on a political significance. Romantic writers reflected the concrete political activity on the front of animal rights and welfare. The Romantic period saw the passing of anti-cruelty legislation. Shelley, 1792-1822, was one of the most influential leaders of the Romantic movement. Also sought to mobilize poetic images of nature for political purpose. William Wordsworth, 1770-1850, English poet, one of the most accomplished and influential of English Romantic poets, whose theories and style created a new tradition in poetry. He developed a keen love for nature as youth, and during school vacation periods, he frequently visited places noted for their picturesque beauty. So these are the features of the Romanticism. So they care about emotion and passion and awe of nature. Emotion and passion also represent natural things. The idealization of women. Women also, according to the ecologists in general, represent the Mother Earth because she is the mother who carry in her wombs the children who represent the flower and all the roses of life. So, and pure of childhood also is mentioned here. The celebration of the individual, to care about human beings, means to care about nature, and there's a break from convention and spirituality and occult. Hermit and nature. So there is also some other kind of love for nature which is associated with hermit. An American author, naturalist, pacifist, philosophers, transcendentalist, and environmentalist Henry David Thoreau, 1817-1862, believed nature to be expressions of God and symbolic reflection of the transcendent spiritual world that works beyond the physical realm. Thoreau wrote essays on autumnal foliage, the successions of the forest trees, and the dispersal of seeds, collection in excursions. Scientists regard these works as anticipating ecology. Thoreau embarked on a 2-year experiment in simple living. Thoreau's retreat to Walden is often seen as a rejection of civilization. People to feel and live transcendental and natural hindrance to the elevation of mankind. He describes life that it would cause incredibly little trouble to obtain one's necessary food. That man may use a simple diet as animals and yet retain healthy and strength. According to Thoreau's philosophy and his being as independent character, however, spending 2 years in partial seclusion in a wood, cultural identity is connected to nature and to divine mission. On this point, the philosophy of being a hermit is connected with the pure. So this is an image of Thoreau and the house that he made when he lived like 2 years in seclusion with very little things which were available during that time around him. Thoreau suggests that the most important element of getting a healthy body is by living among wild nature. Doctor recommendation for sick is to change air and scenery, to live by ethics rather than rules, is to accomplish the feel and the need of the spirit. The unadulterated and pure atmosphere is to be near divinity, where the soul is created from. Silence Supreme by Rachel Carrison. So this is another work that also associated with the anticipation of what is going to be happening during the modern time. Aware of the policies and practices of the day, Rachel Louise Carrison, 1907-1964, assembled information on chemicals used in aerial spraying in industrial setting and on food to characterize the impact of these agents in ecological terms rather than simply portraying the effectiveness of the chemical solution. The problem with DDT is that it does not break down in harmless chemicals. It passes through the food chain. DDT was considered pesticide, yet it became genocide. Carrison anticipated a lifeless future. Carrison told a powerful fable of a town whose people had been poisoned and the whole spring had been silenced of bird songs because all life had been extinguished by pesticides in her phenomenal success, Silent Spring. We have other words that are associated with nature and ecology, like J.R.R. Tolkien's words focus mainly on the Lord of the Rings, laying out the environmental concepts present in the text. The forces of evil are represented by the deforestation as wilderness is available. The implication is that the loss of wilderness and the great forest is sad and regrettable. To care about nature makes some turn to write songs that criticize the situation, such as rap and other kinds of songs. For instance, Blue Cheer has been so critical and radical in his song, Bring My Gas Mask Here. He says that he cannot drink the water, nor he can breathe the air, metaphorically reflecting that by saying he wants his gas mask to denote that everything is polluted. So we cannot give substantial or make substantial change in the status quo, but in general, I summed up these lines by saying, in a subtle way, one can ask the question, what does a man need and want in the universe? The answer would be according to the general concept of ecstasy, not according to any individual ideas that might be queer. Man is in need for love, truth, honor, quietly, beautiful land with green plants, fresh water, and a nice blue sky. These are the foremost elements of what a man needs and wishes. What if a man can have these elements of happiness in this world? Could he help with that matter? The answer should be affirmative, that can be done by caring about every single thing in this world as if it belongs to that hypothetical person. As it's to say, one should care about other people, animals, plants, air, and all natural resources as if they are his or her, and they are going to be inherited by his or her descendants. This is the absolute right thing to do. For instance, caring about air pollution and trying to avoid all its causes will reduce this pollution for his hypothetical person and his or her descendants. I've read this and hopefully you enjoyed my reading. Any question, any query? Mr. Mohammed, I've done my part. Mr. Mohammed. إذا أحد أي سؤال إنه أنا أوكي. نعم بالتأكيد حتى تكون مدرس مساعد منى يمكن بعث سؤال على الشات. إنه كانت تسأل what is the importance of eco-criticism in our society. So it is a status quo. So it is a situation that we are facing global change and climate change, global warming. So what can we do? Every person has his role in life to change something. So literature is part of everything. It can make huge change. And I've written this within the first page maybe, said that literature has its point among all of them. So we must stop this crisis. So that is the answer.
Assalamu alaikum. Hey, Dr. Aman.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing? Unfortunately, I wasn't here in your platform from the beginning. So, what's your major?
English literature.
English literature.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Can you go to the last slide, please? And by the way, I'm Dr. Difaf. My major is English literature too, so it's quite interesting. Thank you so much. So you were speaking about something queer. So can you give more details about your last slide?
Actually, it's not queer, but this term is coined just about 3 decades or ago, or so. Eco-criticism is a kind of studying literature, any body of literary work from ecological point of view. So such a term is coined in I've just written that, 1989. So we must start studying literature from such perspective, not only feminism, not only Marxist or whatever movement. We should study literature from such point. By studying that shows an awareness or give environmental consciousness. So
Excuse
how do we care about nature?
Excuse me. My question was not about defining the eco-criticism. My question was about, I just needed a clarification about your last slide. You have questions, I guess, like 3 questions probably. And you mentioned the queer in the middle of that slide. So I just want you, if you don't mind, explain that slide again. So yeah, thank you.
It is maybe the last one. That is what I said. What does a man need and want in the universe? So in general, we need certain things according to the concept of ecstasy, not according to any queer idea or queer person. So we are going to be in need for love, truth, honor, piety, beautiful land and green plants, fresh water, and a nice blue sky. So it's not my point of view, actually.
Actually, I'm stuck. Yeah, I'm stuck.
And I agree totally with it.
Yeah, actually, I'm stuck in by the end of line 2. Actually, the answer the question, the answer would be, I guess, according to the general concept of ecstasy, not according to any individual ideas. Yeah, so you just deleted individual people, and what do you mean by general and individual here?
General concept.
So general is comes from
you are
individuals.
generalizing
Yes?
things. That the concept that that almost the big amount of people agree about it. But
So do you think queer people,
are very little
they don't like the things that you mentioned?
Pardon me?
Like love, truth, honor, equity. Everybody wants equity, especially queer people. Beautiful land. Why you just put the queer things? What do you mean by queer here?
It means strange, unnatural. Just I'm not meaning the LGBT. I mean the other word that it's not.
I can't hear you well, actually. I'm sorry.
It's
so
not
you
ordinary.
mean queer ideas or queer people?
No, ideas.
Like what?
Like someone believes to live happily, or he needs certain things in life to live happily, which is unnatural to others. It's just an individual idea, different from the general concept.
What are the certain things that make this person happy?
It's, I think it's a no-brainer question, like someone who is addicted to certain things. So he believes that the things that he's addicted to is what makes him feel happy or okay with what his life should be.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Amin.
With a pleasure, with a pleasure. Your name, sorry, I cannot get it. Doctor? Yes.
Excuse me, you're talking to me. I'm not sure, actually.
Hello.
نشكر الدكتورة أمل على هذه المحاضرة القيمة. ونشكر السادة الحضور على حسن الاستماع. أهلا وسهلا دكتورة.
Goodbye.